this week we're back with Kate and I. Really appreciate everyone's support so far. We're really doing our best to get you guys the most information that you can use right now for real estate agents. My mission here at Foraker Realty is to help people to, achieve their goals. Yeah. So if we can do that with these new agents through giving them any kind of tips, I think it'll be well worth. Yeah. I know it's a big investment for your guys' time. So Kate has been instructed.
So now I'm going to be interviewing you on your podcast again. Right. So we're talking today about the evolution of prospecting. And it's kind of one of those things that I feel like is always changing. Like it's never, like, I don't know, like prospecting in real estate isn't just like, okay, you do X, Y, and Z forever. And then as long as you do those things, stuff works. It's always changing, right?
Yeah.
So obviously,
and there's like a journey to get to figuring it out.
Right.
Like if I could have back all the money I spent on the stupid things like the sign at the Christiana Mall.
God, that sign.
Like basketball teams or churches or, I've spent so much money on all that advertising that has a place, but it's just not for me,
Yeah.
Like it's not, it's not the spot for a new agent.
Right. And I think like anything else, but you do kind of have to like learn different things of like where to allocate, your marketing budget and all of that stuff. And it is trial and error. So everyone learns it.
Yeah. It's easy to be sold as a new agent. I've gotten sold so many times on you sell one house and it'll pay for this for the next 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, you never sell that house from,
That's how do you spend a lot of money? It's fine. All I need to do is like sell one house from this and it's worth it. But okay, so we're jumping in. So kind of I want to go through like new agent prospecting, marketing, and then kind of like what we're doing now. So really quick, I don't think a ton of people care about what we used to do. I mean, I would care about like what people are doing now, but just to touch on it, like what do you think prospecting wise you should be doing, or what did you do when you first got into the business?
Yeah, so there's a lot, right? And that's why I'm like, there's a chance this podcast could help people because there are so many things, like I said, we used to send letters, handwritten letters, handwritten notes, yellow letters.
Yeah, I remember like the handwritten stuff that we used to try and do and like yellow.
And I think what was the question?
Okay, so like as a new agent, where do you think their time and money would be best spent through your like trial and error of everything that you did of prospecting and marketing?
Well, I think there's a ton of free things to do.
Okay.
And down the road, we could break that down on another podcast. But the number one thing is, do you have money? And if not, do you have enough time?
Right.
So, how much time and how much money do you have is really going to determine what you do.
Okay.
Regardless of what you decide to do, I think you need to make sure you do it for at least 6 months. Make sure you have some sort of rhyme or reason or plan goal behind it.
And like a follow-up from that. Like you can't be like, oh, I'm doing Popeyes to the people that I know, like that, know, like, and trust me. And then you do, drop one thing off and then they never hear from you again.
Right, 100%.
You need to, have a really concrete plan. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I think for a new agent, the first thing is start with the people, that already know and like you, convince them to trust you as far as real estate goes. So like I, always tell everybody, download your iPhone and do a CSV.
Yeah.
Get your Facebook friends, treat them as a database. And then start, labeling through that list of people that know and like you and, start building that email list. Email's free.
Okay.
Right. And I think there's a few things that agents should be doing. I think they should have, you should be doing outbound prospecting every day.
Right.
But you should also, before you do that, set up stuff so that like it's running in the background, like marketing working while we're here. A lot of times that's got to be in the form of some sort of paid marketing. But, there's hacks to that, like partnering with a local lender or something like that, where, you know, if you figure it out, you could run these ads and.
Well, and I think even too, like kind of to touch on like just having like a really good CRM from the beginning, because like right now, like we have our smart plans with our CRMs that if someone's emailing us right now, like they're getting something automated back. I feel like you and we kind of went through a lot of trial and error of like one CRM to the next CRM to the next CRM, you know, like, so even just really maybe like, could you imagine if you just had the CRM that we're at now from the very beginning?
Yeah, that would be like a cheat code. I mean, definitely. I mean, we can call, text, email.
Yeah.
I think we send like 50,000 emails a month.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how many people with our branding going onto it.
Yeah.
And it's tough because when you're a new agent, you're like, all right, Brian, like now I download my iPhone contacts and I've really only got 200 people. That's not weird to call. And
even 200 people that's not weird to call is really good. Like, I think it's weird to call.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, and then how many of them do you have email addresses for?
Yeah.
So like you're building your email address list with 15 people. So, you know, you got to figure out a way to get all of their email addresses.
Organically. Yeah. Where it doesn't feel like you're like pulling teeth for it or being like weird about it. So, do you, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think something every agent should do would be to try to become like the mayor of their town.
Yeah.
You know? And we just had an agent who they didn't have a database. So what they did was they made a Facebook group for their town.
Yeah. And she's killing it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's like 1,000 people in there. It's been like.
And people are interacting.
Maybe 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a local neighborhood housing market update. And all it is go in there, say something, post a few good things once a day. Yeah. I think you can plan out the posts for like 2 months. And, you know, after she had 200 people in there, we decided, all right, let's put, now to join the group, you have to put your name, email, and phone number.
Yeah.
Right. So now she's got 800 people in that city.
That's so awesome.
Right. For free.
And I was about to say, it didn't cost her a dime.
Right. Nothing.
Yeah.
So, you know, to your original point, don't stop there, right? So now you have all that. Let's take that and let's say, okay, well, maybe I'll post a video every day with me holding my iPhone camera, walking up and down the street.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Maybe I'm gonna, all right, so now you're in Oxford, you're on Main Street, you're in all the businesses. When you pass, you know, so-and-so's muffin shop, she's sharing your post because she's like, oh my gosh, like check me out on this group.
Exactly. And it's just like small businesses supporting small businesses, right? Like I feel like no one dislikes that. And everyone's going to support you in your growth with that too.
100%. I mean, if you took, let's just break that down for a second. So you want to say you want to go after Oxford, right? You make your Oxford group like she did. She's killing it. There's, you know, between 500 and 1,000 people in there. You've got all their names, emails, and phone numbers.
Yeah.
Right. There's 20 to 50 local businesses in that area.
Okay.
All of them probably have between 2,000 and 5,000 people that follow them on their social media. So now you've got a group between all of their followers of 100,000 people in that area. Right? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they overlap, but whatever.
Of course. Yeah. Regardless. Well, and then even though too, now, you know, you have their email. So now they're going on like the market, like the email campaigns. They're getting, you know, invited to any of the events that we're having. Like now they know her as the local agent.
Right. 100%. And that you could do that in 5 towns at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally take one day with your iPhone and go to each one of those businesses. Hey, I want to ask you 5 questions.
Right.
Why did you choose this area? What do you love about it? Or, you know, what's your favorite
I mean, like,
restaurant?
would it even be crazy to say, like, she also has their phone number? Like, but like, would it be invasive to then call them?
No, it's not invasive to call them. But I'm talking about if you interviewed all those people, now you put them all in that group.
Oh, I see.
All those companies are now sharing your group.
Got it.
And you're getting all of their sphere because you're now aligned.
Right.
You know, and then
just piggybacks off of it.
Right. I mean, we know that with our our software, we can skip trace people at 2 cents a piece. So if you wanted to then pull everyone in that neighborhood, you could probably do the whole city for $180.
You're jumping ahead because that is like the coolest thing to me. Like I love it. And I feel, can we talk about that later?
Okay. I mean, you asked me what to do.
I guess you're right. But I don't know, like from...
I guess to recap.
Yeah.
Social media.
Right.
You need to do everything on there. Right. I mean, there was an agent in our office. So I saw a listing the other day. Hey, does anyone want this furniture or something? We're moving. We're going to be listing our house. So that's someone raising their hand saying they're about to sell.
Right.
So I sent her a DM and said, hey, if you're going to be interviewing agents, I would love to, love to sit at the table.
Love to have the opportunity.
Yeah. She emailed me back. No, we're actually going with Jeff Eckerson, who's in our office. Yeah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Like he's great. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm thinking there's got to be 5,000 people that DM'd this girl. She's standing in a group. I think there's like 30,000 people in this group waving her hand saying, I'm moving.
Yeah.
Right.
That poor woman. I'm just kidding.
So, right. He told me, hey, I talked to her. You were the only one that sent me a DM. This was last week.
No way.
She said I was the only one that sent her a DM in that whole group.
Really? So there are like kind of...
and listen, I was ready to go knock on her door. Like, I was like, that's a nice listing.
Yeah.
I'm driving through the neighborhood next week.
I mean, literally, what does it hurt? Yeah.
Right.
That's wild. So you were the only one out of that. And I think that's kind of like even what you touched on like last week about, Kent County, like there is low hanging fruit everywhere. You just have to be looking for it. Like there was even that one time that like you were like, Kate, like how did you make out with your calls today? Whatever. And I was like, oh, like, I don't know. They were great. And then it was that girl down in Parkside and you were like, Kate, like what the heck are you talking about? Like this is a great opportunity. So I think it's also just like recognizing opportunity when it crosses your way in any shape or form.
Yeah.
Like just, being open to all those different ways.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think that it's kind of like the law of attraction. They say your reticular activator will like keep it in the forefront of your mind.
Okay.
If you buy a red car, you see red cars everywhere you go.
Okay,
well, if you wake up in the morning and you write down that my goal is to get a listing today.
Right.
That's at the forefront of your mind.
Right.
Everywhere you go is going to be, is that a listing opportunity?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see a dumpster in someone's yard. Well, there's only about 5 reasons why they've got a dumpster in their yard. You know what I mean? And I mean, there's definitely some sort of a life change going on there. So when that's in the front of your mind, I think everyone's a lead or they know a lead.
Yeah.
And how many listings have I gotten off of the dumpsters? At least
I would say it. Yeah, maybe even closer to like a handful.
Yeah.
They really have. I know you had that killer one in Landenberg, in 2021. I think it was 2020, 2021. Wild. So, okay. So this kind of like we're jumping into now because we've been talking about like social media, but then also dumpster. You just said that you wanted to go knock up. What do you think is more valuable or just, what do you think is more valuable? Either face-to-face prospecting or...
Well, there's 2 different things there. So I think what it comes down to is how many people can you get to at once?
Okay.
Like
where's your
on
time?
Social media, I can get a glimpse into everyone's life through my whole Rolodex within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the day. To do that door knocking, especially out here when everyone's got an acre or 2.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Right?
No.
So, I would door knock a very warm lead if it was an expired, a FSBO, something like that. I would say go ahead and door knock them. I personally haven't done that. I've always wanted to.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. I think doing face-to-face, if you can get in front of, like, for example, this Saturday we have our sellers seminar.
Yep.
If I can get in front of 5 to 10 sellers, both.
Oh, it is. That's awesome.
So we're just dumping information on people. But if I can get in front of 10 to 20 sellers, okay, like I want to be face to face, right?
Yeah.
So where on the scale of them being a hot lead, is it like you're at the Christiana Mall standing in front of someone face to face versus they're standing in my office because they want to sell their home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think you need to use your judgment. And personally, I think if you're going to do just straight cold prospecting, there are so many other options where you could send ringless voicemails, do cold, circle prospecting on the phone, send, have our AI bots call, which we won't talk too much about, but
that's a lot to unfold there.
And, postcards, sending handwritten notes. I mean, realistically, if I'm going to sell my house next year and I get a handwritten note from someone that says, hey, something along the lines of like, do you want to sell your house? I'm probably going to take that seriously. I don't think you need to spend the day knocking on people's doors.
I feel like, you're going to take that seriously, but like, if it's not if they're getting that 12 months prior to them actually selling, there's so much that still needs to take place in between now and then. You can't just say, oh, well, I sent them a handwritten card.
Well, right. Yeah, I think you send them, I think you get more personal the warmer they get. I think the handwritten card is like, that there's more a place for that.
Okay,
right? But I get I think if you're just talking to the general public, why not use your phone? You can hit I could hit 10 neighborhoods by the time you're done door knocking one.
Yeah.
And the chances of the people being home, answering the door now that they're home, wanting to sell their home.
Yeah.
They still have to want to let you, a stranger, just up into their house and be like, yeah, dude, I'll go with you.
Let's check it out.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's
a lot.
It's you're rolling the dice. I'm not saying if you don't have any money and you're deciding between going door knocking and going golfing with your friends, you should go you
should go door knocking.
Go door knocking, but
shows what you've done. No kidding.
Yeah, I think I would. There's other routes for cold.
So, and I mean, you just talked a lot about like, circle prospecting, skip tracing, sending postcards. How did you, like, for a new agent or even an experienced agent that, just kind of has done most of their business by referral, like, how have you like implemented those systems and those, I guess, like, companies that we're working with, those vendors to get that information and to send that information out?
Yeah, so I think, okay, so how have I implemented them is the question?
Yeah, like how, I mean, I guess the answer would probably be like the girls are actually get, Kelly and Olivia have done a lot of it. But yeah, like how have you found like, so the postcard supplier? How have you, found the guy on Fiverr? I mean.
Right. So I think that comes down to just, having that mindset of reverse engineering stuff to where, first of all, the postcards we use mailbox power.
There you go.
And you basically, when a property expires or it's a for sale by owner, we have a zap that goes from a company called My Plus Leads that tells us this house expired, gets added to our mailbox power account.
Okay.
And there's 12 postcards that go to this expired for sale by owner regardless.
Okay.
I will put that system in place, but we have a marketing girl who does it all.
Gotcha.
And we could spend 3 days talking about, there's QR codes on the postcards, there's X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But what I've found in doing those is you have to follow it up with a phone call.
Okay.
If you don't follow it up, it will just enhance your prospecting.
Hugely.
To put a disclaimer out there, every agent, regardless if you've been in the business for 7, 20 years or 20 days, you should be calling for sale owners and expired and canceled listings.
Yeah.
Or have someone reaching out to them every single day. I mean,
because let's be real, if you have, an expired listing or a for sale by owner and all we're doing is sending a postcard, but then they're on the phone creating a relationship with another agent, what are they going to do?
Right.
I feel like the postcard, if anything, is just, more so like name recognition, brand recognition, and then like solidifying when we're on the phone with them that we really have our systems in order.
The postcard is when I call and say, hi, it's Brian.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard of you.
Right.
So, and I'll probably get 4 listings a year from come list me calls from the postcards.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of the people, when I go there and they've agreed to work with me.
Yeah.
Or they're interviewing me. When I get to their house, they might I'll see my postcard on their fridge.
Oh, really?
So
yeah,
it's there, but.
And I don't know. I mean, have you felt, because obviously, you've gone into for sale by owner appointments as well without maybe them getting those postcards yet or anything, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like when you go in and they've had the postcard and you've had the phone call with them, like you kind of know that you have the deal walking into it, or no?
Okay, so if that question was about an expired, I might say yes.
Okay.
If it was about a for sale by owner, they have a whole different
yes.
vibe. I think maybe not. I think that
Okay.
For sale by owners, maybe keeping that just because they want to know, I want to call this guy and see if he's got any buyers.
Gotcha.
They might. So I think
Okay.
It definitely enhances it. We follow up our prospecting to expireds with daily phone calls if you're doing it, which you should be.
Yeah, I am.
Postcards,
again,
they get one a day for the first week.
Hold on. Do we want to touch at all, like anything of like the system that I'm using though to call them? Because again, like that's the coolest. Like I love it. It makes it so nice for either an agent or someone that, is working for you to just go in and all of those numbers are right there. It's not like we don't need to spend all day on this. Go and make your calls.
Right. So you got to have that set up. Like,
and again, is that through like Zapier? Is that?
Well, so I have Zapier. Zapier is something that connects two programs and it's very cheap. So I could log in for people listening to Zapier. And I could also log in when I get in Zapier, I could log into expireds or my plus leads to get my expireds and any other system. So we're using Call Tools. So it goes directly into Call Tools. They also go into our Lofty account where they'll receive daily market updates through email. They'll receive a text message every day. They'll receive a ringless voicemail.
Yeah.
That cues the drip of the postcards. And then they're also, like I said, into Call Tools. So now you're calling them every day. I also have another step in there that it sends it to a spreadsheet so everyone in the company can log in and see who's going.
Oh, yeah, you do have that. Yeah.
But what you guys don't see, which for everyone listening, that's most important, is you need to also have something to shut everything down when that property gets relisted.
Yeah.
So last thing you want to do is be calling a house. And My Plus Leads is good about sending out that trigger when something is relisted. They check it every day. So yes, the calling system that we use is Call Tools.
Yeah.
Everyone out there, you could use Mojo. It's perfectly fine. The reason I used Call Tools was because it lets you dial 10 lines at a time. And having 10 lines is good if you're doing like that cold prospecting. You're calling numbers that you don't know if it's right, something like that.
Yeah.
So
it's nice to just kind of fly through them.
But again, Mojo, the Red X, any of them will work perfectly fine.
And I think, again, going back through like the evolution of your prospecting is you've had Red X and Mojo all at some point, correct?
Yeah, I mean, to start, I would look them up. Oh, this one expired. Look them up on White Pages app.
Yeah.
Hand dial the numbers, you know what I mean? And then it was to the point where I'm like, just hand dialing.
Okay.
Hand dialing numbers over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you get to the point, but like.
That's only going to get you, like,
right.
You can only.
And everything I said, I would trade all of that away just to make one phone call on an iPhone or shoot a blue text to someone on an iPhone.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's going to go 10 times farther. Or like you said, you're in the neighborhood, go knock on the door and say, hey, Mr. Seller, here's my resume. Yeah. I noticed you were trying to sell your home and it wasn't successful. This is what I do for a living. I'd love to be considered. Yeah. And walk away. There's no, the hardest part in doing that is all of the negative things that come out in your mind that you create. That's all just
what's fear and yeah.
Yeah. I forget what the word is. It's like a false,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Okay.
Whatever it is.
I think we get it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all made up in your mind. You know, you got to push past that and you got to be consistent, do it every day. And, you know, you have to have that discipline to say, I'm calling, even though 5 of them cuss me out. I'm going to make that next call. And, getting them on the phone once doesn't matter. I call it like the board game. First, you get their phone number and this is the one.
Okay. We're moving.
Now we talk to them.
Yeah.
All right, boom. Now I'm in the door.
Yeah.
They still didn't hire me. No problem. Now I'm on step number 3. I'm on my second interview.
It's like the flow chart that we have for like our scripts, just like for life.
Yeah, right.
So flow chart for our life.
Yeah. But you can copy and paste that formula to, well, the other thing I do is I have them get added to a custom list on Facebook and Google. So they're being retargeted with
for all those ads.
This whole
Which
time.
is so funny. Like I've had so many clients be like, I keep seeing you. Like I'm already working with you. Like get off of my Facebook. And I'm like, okay, but love that this is working. It's really cool.
It's fun.
Yeah. So, okay, we've kind of, I feel like you started in 2017 market shifts. Like, have you felt like, okay, I see, I'm anticipating the market shifting. Now we have to do this a little bit different for prospecting? Or do you think like you're kind of always just looking for?
Well, there becomes a point where your time is more valuable than the money that it would cost just to have that lead warm and ready in your CRM. So eventually I started buying Facebook leads, and I was like, I can spend $3 a day. And then I got up to realtor.com leads, which are much lower down the funnel.
Yeah.
If you could think of the mindset of the consumer where you get their information because they were scrolling on Facebook. Well, on Facebook, they're not looking for a home.
No.
On Facebook, they're looking to waste time.
Yeah.
Right. So when they're on realtor.com, they identified a home they like. They've clicked, I'd like to have more information and see this property.
Yeah.
That's a lead.
Yeah.
A better lead, So as the market changed, I've always, like, the beginning of COVID happened, right? Mm-hmm. And like, we all know now that the market's blown up through that. But like, I don't know if you remember, but like the first month, it was like, wait, I don't know if anyone's going to buy any houses.
Yeah.
Like real estate.
No, it was really scary.
Right. So like during that time, I kept hearing this. I keep remembering this story of Mike McCann saying like during 2007, he doubled down on all of his leads. So that's always been my mentality.
Okay.
Because of just where he is today.
So when the going gets tough, double down.
Right. So like, I'm thinking, okay, there's going to be half as many sales. I need twice as many leads. So I doubled down on my leads there. We doubled down. And moving into 2022, 23, we pretty much experienced about a 50% decrease. Yeah. So as the market shifted there, we again doubled down on our leads through realtor.com to get, more buyer share.
Yes.
For our agents to keep everybody motivated. So we've got them.
And I think also probably like the evolution of like social media as well too, right? I mean, I think everyone, like, again, like when COVID happened, correct me if I'm wrong, is that like kind of when like the real estate social media videos kind of blew up? Because it was like, okay, how are we going to get in front of our clients if we can?
Well, I would say video has been around a lot longer than that, but I think everyone started doing it then.
Okay.
Like the camera starting getting better. You started, like, I used to be the only one, not the only one, but there was like 4 people doing video.
Yeah.
Right?
There were few and far between. Yeah.
Now almost every agent. Mm-hmm. But then again, those are just the agents we're seeing about.
I guess you're right.
Seeing the agents who aren't.
Yeah.
No longer relevant. I mean,
right.
In that space. But yeah, I mean, so your question was, how do we change our marketing with this shift?
Just like prospecting strategies and like marketing through the market shift.
So at the end of the year, we always look back at where our business came from and we make a decision, right? So going into 2023, we doubled down on realtor.com, and we also realized that like 70% of our business was coming from our past clients and our sphere of influence. Yeah. So we decided to double down on our marketing to that group. And we did that again this year. But last year, what we did to do that was we did videos. We did a weekly email. Yeah. We did 4 client parties a year.
We also did like monthly postcards to them as well. Just kind of like, hey.
Added monthly postcards. Yeah. And I retarget them on. Yeah. We also add in birthday cupcakes.
Oh, yeah.
Something along those lines for them.
Everyone loves that.
So, but I probably get somewhere between 2 and 5 come list me calls a month because of, hey man, and it's
between those calls and the postcards.
People love it. People have so much fun. I just sent a lot of my past clients gifts yesterday. But,
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like little.
But going into 2024, we took the same mentality, and we host these events because you can get.
The parties are a lot of fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I can get like 7 touches that are all offering value.
Yeah. Because between those parties, we have the email, the call, the text, the paper invite that we mail, and then probably another call like the week of the party.
And then I'm sending them an email like almost every other day.
Yeah.
For, leading up to it. And then I send them an email like, sorry we missed you, or it was so great to see you after the party.
And because I remember you've said before, like, we don't care if they come or not. Like, that's not.
Of course I want to say it. But
like it's fun if, more people are there and whatnot, but really like that's not the point. The point is to get all of those touches, and
I want to stay top of mind without being like, hey, do you know anyone that wants to sell? Like, what's up? Or do you want to sell? And I don't I also want people to know that we're there for life when they hire us. We're not just going to get our commission check and roll. But moving into 2024, we adopted the Care Bear model.
Love that. He's doing a great job too.
Which, if you're listening to this and you don't know what that is, Tom Ferry's coaching program talks about it a lot. Basically, the person who interviewed for the position was very lucky to get the job because she was my mom. But she
was perfect for the position.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like she's a professional gift giver. So she just, manages our client experience the whole time, gives people gifts. If someone gets,
settlement gifts, moving gifts.
Right. And like, we try to be like giving gifts that are surprises versus, oh, it's settlement day.
Everyone knows
that
$100
gift card, So it would be much better if someone gets like a dog bone because they just posted on Facebook.
They got a puppy. Or the onesies that we have.
I bought my crib from the Foraker team.
Yeah, love that. Okay. So, a lot of these.
I'm holding back a lot. I'm not trying to. It's just we're moving quick. We could have an hour conversation.
The floor is yours if you want to talk more about it. Okay. So kind of, if there were things that you like looking back, again, hindsight is 2020. Is there anything that you would not do again or not recommend to agents in terms of, marketing and prospecting? It's kind of like the saying, like, any press is good press.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's nothing that's bad. It's all, if the alternative is to do nothing, then you should do all of it. But I think that, first of all, spending money on anything that's like a grocery cart, a stand at the grocery store, this on your golf cart, this in the so-and-so's bulletin, that's all. It's not a waste of money, but you could take the $500 you're spending there and literally take the investment in yourself, learn how to run Facebook ads, Google ads, and you could literally be marketing, in this spring, homes with a pool. Yeah. Clicking over a list of homes with a pool to people who are searching Zillow, Realtor.com.
And it's probably not going to cost you $500.
Yeah.
Either.
You get 150 leads and now you own those leads for the rest of your life. Yeah. You have their name, email, and phone number. You can drip on them forever. Yeah. And, if I could have all the money back that I did on that, I would do much better.
Well, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but because if you're doing the, sign on the golf or in the grocery store or whatever, you might still see that money back at some point. It's just going to take a lot longer to get that back. Because remember,
I've never gotten anything.
No, that's not true. Because remember, we went to that one listing appointment and that lady, and it was a big listing appointment. And that lady was like, oh my gosh, I think I remember seeing your face on the Bago boards. She's like, I do know you from there. And it was like, I feel like that was like a connecting moment.
Right. We were already there.
That was like 4 years ago.
Right.
And we were already there.
We were already there. Right. So
I'm just trying to,
possibly
if you are doing it, maybe it's okay.
Possibly custom cornhole boards for the local cornhole tournament. But
that's funny.
I think So here's the deal with the custom cornhole boards. Let's break that down.
Yeah.
My friend John, he supports me in everything I do.
Yeah.
You know, he's referring me people all the time. When he calls and says, hey, do you want to do this? I just say yes.
How can you say no to that? Yeah.
So like, there will be business from that.
Yeah.
More than there will be like, someone's like, oh, wait, you wanted to buy a house?
I've actually been thinking about
the drive
yeah, like
that was on the cornhole board?
Yeah, I get that. Well, okay, so that would be like your biggest thing is maybe just allocating that money
to your either pay-per-click ads.
Okay.
If you're trying to save time.
Right.
If you have more time than you need, keep that money and invest it maybe in your like sphere of influence, hosting some kind of a party, doing a partnership.
Yeah.
Some videos free. Do video all the time. I'll do a video every single day if I were them.
Well, so question, I'm going to interrupt you. So like at what point, because I remember like when we started video, I was like, oh, like I'm looking at my videos and I just feel like they aren't like as good as other people's videos. Like at what point do you think like we just brought, Shane on, now he's doing all of our videography and photography. Like at what point do you think someone should be hiring a professional? Or, I guess that's something that you can just learn, right?
Well, okay. So there's a couple of things to comment on. One, you should definitely not worry what you look like. I had the same fears for a while, and that is what you look like. It's it's as exact as it can be. It's a camera. Like you have no problem talking to people in public.
Yeah,
that is what you sound like.
Right.
People love you. It's fine.
Yeah.
And they already want to work with you. If you looked like a supermodel in that video and you showed up looking like you think you look ugly in the video, then you have an issue.
Exactly. Then there's a problem there. Yeah.
So that's number one. I think just
authentic.
do it and be authentic.
Yeah.
And also to remember that like you're also inspiring somebody when you post that video because there's someone watching that video who's like, I'm scared to post mine.
Yeah.
And look at her go.
I used to think that all the time. I'm like, oh, people are going to think that like I'm so like weird or like make fun of me for doing this. But then when I see other people doing it, I'm like, I wish I could do that. Like I think they're killing it.
They're killing it. And the whole time they're watching the video, they're thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you.
Yeah.
They're watching the video thinking, oh, is my hair nicer or worse than theirs? And a million other things. And obviously it sucks when someone watches my video because my hair is always nicer than theirs.
Okay, Ryan.
What was the question? What was the second half of the question? When do you hire a professional videographer?
Yeah.
Well, we just hired ours.
Right. And it doesn't need to be, I guess too, like it doesn't need to be a full-time position for people, right? There's so many like, subcontractors that you can reach out just for like video editing if you're really that worried about it, I guess, right?
It's hard because we were finally at the position where it made sense financially because the amount of money we're saving on listing photos,
right?
If everyone's bought in and uses that and pays the company for listing photos, pays for the videographer, right? So I think the reason I did that was to eliminate that huge expense for any
that we were outsourcing.
Yeah, anyone that comes here is able to use our videographer as much as they want. We're actually trying to incentivize them to use them because we know it's going to
bring more business to them.
Bring them business.
Yeah.
And I think, to directly answer the question, you should probably do it when it makes sense I would do that before I would buy leads going back.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because there's so many different plays that you can make on it.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about, you could interview and have a professional video of every business on your town's main street. And now you're there. You don't have each one of them sharing it. And you could turn it into so many leads. So I would do it sooner than later. And if you can, maybe 3 or 4 people chip in and they all have it. Or maybe you do like some a la carte thing. Or maybe you join a brokerage that, is technology forward. And they offer that. I think that's something people should. I don't think there's one other person in our area that's in our role that's pushing video as hard as we are. Not in this market.
Yeah. And that should be, that definitely should be, when you're interviewing different brokerages, a question that kind of goes,
Yeah.
list
Yeah. Lean on
of
your
what they're
brokers.
doing, you know?
100%.
Can you share some common prospecting mistakes that realtors in the 5 to 25 sales per year range often make and how to avoid them?
The prospecting mistake that every single agent makes is they don't have discipline and they just choose to either get in their own head or they choose to be lazy or look for an easy answer. Like they don't call. You need to just pick up the phone and call.
Okay.
I don't know if I was not or like getting to that. You have to pick up the phone and call every single day. That's the answer.
Okay.
Let me sum up the whole show.
That's just it.
Yeah, call for sale owners every single day. It doesn't matter if you don't know what to say. It doesn't matter if you don't know how to get there. Just like pick up the phone, call them.
And call.
You don't have a phone? Reach over, grab your friend's phone, and call them.
Yeah. I mean, that's it.
I mean, that's all you need to do. It's literally,
Yeah.
It's free. There are people that are saying, hi, I want to sell my home.
Right. And I'm not working with an agent.
And I'm not working with an agent.
Yeah.
I want to sell my home, I'm not working with an agent. And
What do you think like the importance is of like surrounding yourself with people that can hold you accountable and not I feel like, again, like we talked about this last podcast. I feel like sometimes like being held accountable is just like such like a not lax word, but even just having like a fun environment to be like doing that with like agents that are also calling, like it's a whole vibe that you have, you know, it makes something that a lot of people, again, just don't do and dread doing like bearable,
right.
You know, like it makes it fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to have that culture. And that was kind of like, that was my vision, was to build that here.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I came from a place where, I was cold calling and it wasn't aligned with what a lot of people were doing to get business, right? And there was a lot of those comments of like, why are you calling for sale by owners? Or, you know, why would you still call expired listings? Like, you don't have that from your sphere of influence. It's like, well, no, I do. But like, I have a goal of selling 100 houses.
Exactly. Like they just had different goals and, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, being around that culture, it's just like anything. If you have somebody else, you know, I'm starting a new health journey, you know, and I know that like if I don't text that group in the morning, like done, or, you know, if I go to the gym and Sabri's there waiting for me, I have to
so
be
much,
there. Right.
Yeah.
You know, and
it also makes like getting there more like exciting because you're doing it with someone,
right.
You know,
you share your wins with someone, you share your losses with someone. You have that, you know, you should have that like whole thing broken down to where now you're doing role play with them,
right?
You're doing script practice. What works for you? What objections are you having? This worked for me.
The script practice and like the role play has been very, very helpful. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. But I think creating that culture is one of the most important things in having a successful business, is just being around that winning environment. Because like my coach was just telling me the other day that we were breaking down, like, why don't agents call, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, he defines discipline by doing what you, making a decision for what you want most over what you want now. So it's being like short-sighted, right? So like if you think about, and it's the same with food, like, if I think today, what do I want to eat for breakfast? Do I want to eat a donut?
Yeah.
Or do I want to eat like
something nutritious?
Or some you know, protein shake versus.
Okay, well, what do you want?
Versus like if I look back at last Friday and said, hey, how was that donut you had?
Right.
Or the protein shake? Like the donut it's completely meaningless the second you swallow it.
Yeah.
And it's meaningless the second you don't make that call and those 45 seconds go by. Like,
well, it's kind of like, again, like that even then circles to like the atomic habits, right? Of just like those small things, like right then and there, you know, I get what you're saying.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't
need to go. Yeah.
Small wins like that, you know, that make you the man.
And even like, and I think maybe even, I just came to this realization, but I think maybe even I could work better on like, okay, even if I make all my calls today, but like my calls didn't go the way they, you know, I wanted them to, it's still a win because I got them done.
100%.
You know, like it's not.
The way to win isn't to get that yes on the phone call. The way to win is to build like the habits and the lifestyle of making those calls.
Exactly.
Right?
Like,
you can't control what's said on the other side of that phone. You don't know anything, but you can control whether or not you're going to make the call.
Exactly. Yeah. And how I'm going to, live my schedule and want to be an agent and all of that.
Yeah. 100%. So making the calls is all that it is. It's like going to the gym. Like you might not get the best workout of your life, but you
showed up,
that discipline.
Yeah.
And you're there winning.
For sure.
And you also build confidence in yourself because when I say that I'm going to do something, I do it.
Yep.
Versus like, hey, I don't know that I can count on myself. Unless it's going to be
like if you can't count, like if you need to count on anyone in the world, it should be yourself.
Right.
So I get that for sure. Well, that kind of just like jumped over. Like I feel like that's also like the key points and the most actual advice from today.
Yeah.
It's just calling people. And also, maybe would you say, again, just being like very aware of where you are spending.
100%. Be aware of where you're spending your money. Be aware that, if you're going to make the commitment to call people, start with the people that already know and like you. Once you've run out of them, call expireds, call for sale by owners, call canceled listings.
Yeah.
Don't give up on it.
Right.
Make sure you systematize it, track it, record your numbers, make sure that you have a scheduled time that you do it every day.
Yeah.
And make sure that, once you get that yes or no, that you have a follow-up plan created so that you stay in touch with them. And it's not like, oh, I just went and called today. Like, okay, make a plan around
Hold on. Yeah.
Find an accountability partner, someone that's going to break down all these obstacles through everything with you.
And probably too is like as a newer agent, I mean, I know a lot of, brokerages offer, different types of CRMs, but like as a new agent or as an agent that's wanting to build their team, really take the time to do the research on the CRM that you are going to use, because it's just going to help you down the line of not having to then switch everything over. And then, I mean, the amount of hours that we've spent just learning these different is a lot.
Yeah, take the time. Again, that's the other part of like an accountability partner or being part of that culture is like, here's the map, you know what I mean? And you could go somewhere and recreate the whole thing. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to break it down and give you like, this is the website you go to for this.
Yeah.
But also like, I could drop someone in Texas and be like, hey, make it to New York, right? And you could make it to New York.
Yeah, you'll find your way.
Imagine without a map or anything like that. But imagine I say, here, you're in Texas. Here's my map.
Yeah.
Hop on this road.
Right.
You're going to get off at this detour.
Or here's a phone with a GPS on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Avoid these 3 mistakes. And you'll be in New York in
half the time.
I don't have no clue how.
I mean, whatever. In way shorter amount of time. Yeah.
But it's a no-brainer. I mean, go partner up with someone, whether it's a team, whether it's, reaching out to us here. We'd love to have somebody like that on, but it's a big investment for us to train somebody like that. So, we want people who are ready. Yeah.
And just, passionate about it too, I think that goes a long way.
It's tough for me to make the calls. Like I know I'm yelling at you guys to yell at me to make my calls. And it's not easy.
It's rough.
Yeah.
But we got to do it.
Yeah.
Or what else are we going to do? I mean, there's no other option at this point.
I have a lot of agents that have a lot of other things that will tell you they can do with their time than call. But
you just can't. You got to live in live in it. Okay. Well, I mean, anything, I know we kind of like went over a lot today. Maybe we could see like if anyone has like good feedback for us, or if there's like one topic that they really liked that we could delve into a little bit more.
We break down each one of these. This is kind of like, the opening, but I'd love to do a podcast on the Facebook group. I'd love to do one on canceled and expireds.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
What are you doing on Spotify too? We're on Spotify.
No, I know we are.
But
okay.
Yeah, I think we could break down each one of those. And, I have so many good ideas. I don't have, unfortunately, the time to do them all.
No.
And
but at least we can
I'd love to share them with people.
Yeah, exactly. See if anybody else wants to, run with them.
I mean, there's playbooks on how to get builders, how to get REOs, how to get vacant land. There's short sales, foreclosures. Like you could just name, what happens to your house when you go to jail? Like, can we list all of them?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, your head will explode with ideas.
Do you remember that yard sales? I remember we were looking back and it was like, of like 10 yard sales, like 9 of them listed. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, like we're writing personal notes to every yard sale And if you come into our office and walk around, half the stuff here is from yard sales because I go and I'm like, is the house
you
for
show
sale?
up, but then like you have to buy something.
Right.
You have to support them with their yard sale.
Right.
Have you ever, okay, so I know the dumpsters have been really good.
No.
Yard sales is not. Well, I feel like
Yard sales is close.
okay.
And I will list a home from a yard sale.
No, you 100% will. Someone we will.
We will. We got it.
I think yard sales are a little bit trickier because like maybe, you know, they already met with an agent and they're the one telling them to get rid of all this stuff. But it's gonna stick.
It's going to stick.
Yeah.
And again, had I followed through, systematizing everything, a lot of times it's me pulling in on a Saturday, like,
Yeah. It's just I just was driving by showing houses.
Right.
Had some time in between.
yeah,
Worst thing that came out of it is now we have decor for the office.
right. And
So it's
a
fine.
lot of old Christmas decorations. I spent way too much money on it. So,
Alrighty.
but
Cool.
if you guys have stuck around this long, we appreciate your time. As we just talked about, that's one of the biggest investments you have. And we know it's very valuable. So from the bottom of my heart, I mean that. If there's anything specific you guys want us to talk about, you can follow any of us on social media. So I'm Brian Foraker and Kate Meckley here. Will be very easy to find us on Instagram.
Yeah.
And keep it up. If you like the show, share it with someone who might be able to get some tips from this and vote for us. I appreciate it.
Cool.